21, look further than tomorrow.
This is a problem of so many of these programs. They don't think beyond anything. They say, well, we need this program now. You know, we need this program of cool people down now.
What's going to happen to the kids when, you know, when the snow gets on the ground? What's going to happen to them when they get cold?
If these programs are expected to be any good, I feel that the people that are funding these programs should look further than just tomorrow, because these people in these neighborhoods have been deprived.
These are our youth. This is their street. This is Washington, D.C., summer 1966. 100 times a day, on 100 different streets in 100 neighborhoods, this scene was repeated last summer. It was one small part of a community's planned and organized efforts to meet the needs of some of its citizens. But in more than 100 ways, in more than 100 voices, Washington's youth itself raised some serious questions. This film deals with those questions. What are the criteria by which programs are gauged? The amount of money spent? The variety of activities? Last summer, more than $12 million was spent for youth programs in Washington, D.C. It was a massive effort to provide recreational, educational, and employment opportunities for the city's youth population. Yet, despite these efforts, the gaps were obvious. Public neighborhood swimming pools could not accommodate all who wished to use them, so youngsters waited their turn and swam in shifts. But attempts to solve the problems were obvious too. A policy of official flexibility was able to accomplish what money couldn't buy. In neighborhoods where no public swimming pools existed, city officials relaxed their regulations. Still another solution was the construction of neighborhood temporary pools. By summer's end, 17 such pools were in use, built jointly by the district government and the United Planning Organization as part of Operation Champ. How big is a child's world? For some, that world extends only to the confines of their immediate neighborhood, a world of crowded homes and littered streets. For many thousands of young Washingtonians last summer came the chance to expand that world. The program was Widening Horizons, financed by the Office of Economic Opportunity. The concept of Widening Horizons was simple: to provide new and different experiences for children of the ghetto, like the simple pleasure of a day in the country. In the slums, too, the lamp of learning burns. Last summer, some 8,000 youngsters participated in Head Start programs. One of Head Start's many teachers, Wendy Berg, talks about the program's purpose and problems.
It's necessary because most of the children that we have are very much unprepared for school. They have to learn how to get along with one another. They have to learn how to listen.
Look, Mom! How about Christine's book, Mom?
They have to learn how to sit down for more than 15 seconds at a time. They have to learn how to concentrate. That's one of our goals, is teaching them how to concentrate. We do this through painting even. A child is painting a picture, we never disturb him while he's painting that picture, because at that moment he's learning to concentrate. And opportunities for this kind of thing do not occur in his home. There are rats in the neighborhood. There are rats in our very building here, as a matter of fact. We are having great difficulty getting rid of them because they, exist throughout the neighborhood. We need complete rat clearance before we're going to get rid of ours. The houses are very run down, very broken down. Apartments as well are not kept up by the, I guess it's the realtors or whoever it is that keeps up the apartments. I know I've been in a number of them looking for an apartment for myself.
Is this Head Start too?
Most of them don't have too much familiarity with, more than hot dogs and hamburgers and macaroni and bread, things of that sort.
Many of the educational problems these children bring to the program can be resolved in the classroom. But can the Head Start be sustained against the obstacles of poverty?
They were standing still, trying to look like the grass. Tell them not to be afraid, he said. He hissed a little when he spoke. I called the others over, but they were too afraid to move.
One of the largest single expenditures for last summer's youth programs went for education. More than $2 million for regular summer school and for special enrichment and remedial education programs. In all, some 28,000 district youngsters from the elementary to the senior high school levels took advantage of these programs.
I never heard anybody.
Just mix the peat moss.
Not all educational activities in the district last summer were quite so formal. There were a variety of cultural enrichment programs, like this Widening Horizons program for teenagers at the National Arboretum.
What we have done at the National Arboretum is devise a method for propagating plants that is quite effective yet inexpensive, and a method that just about everyone can do in their own home. Now, instead of using a greenhouse, what we're going to use to propagate our plants is a plastic bag, and this will serve as our miniature greenhouse.
They come like the Pied Piper of old, trailing neighborhood youngsters behind. They are the roving group leaders of the Step Up program. Step Up was supported jointly by the Office of Economic Opportunity and the Office of Education of the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare. Daily, they wandered through Washington's underprivileged areas, bringing toys and games, arts and crafts materials, and their own enthusiasm and ingenuity. With almost magic-like ability, they transformed vacant lots into joyful playgrounds in areas where little else exists to break the monotony of summer in the slums. But the question remains, what will these children do tomorrow when the roving group leaders have moved away? For Step Up's more than 9,000 young participants last summer, there were cultural programs, like this dance workshop at Arena Stage. drama workshops, where real-life situations become a part of the plot.
Oh, well, I guess I get me some tea.
And for those so inclined, a music workshop. But above the sounds of these summer programs, the strident voice of youth was heard.
So what we summed it up as is, it's just a program to cool off the tensions of the youngsters during the summer months. While they're back in school, then they don't worry about them again until next year. You know, it's an annual thing. It's an annual fraud is what it is. An annual fraud. Get it?
On August 15th, youth's festering discontent exploded into a night of fury in Washington's Anacostia area. To those who had planned for and worked on the youth summer programs, it was apparent that somewhere one ingredient had been omitted. Washington's youth soon provided its own answer.
What can we do so that this will never happen again? That means occupying the teenager's mind and correcting some of the mistakes that were made. I hope in the second part that nobody jumps on the police department, because we're not all perfect and they ain't all perfect. Okay? So we want some sound ideas and suggestions to come forward. This is the reason they're here, to find out why this thing's, not why it started, but what y'all want so that it won't start again. So I turn it over to y'all.
In the days immediately following the Anacostia disturbance, Washington's youth community spoke in still another voice, a voice of reason, but a purposeful voice. It was a voice of responsibility, and it asked to be entrusted with responsibility.
We, the youth of Washington, D.C., urge Commissioner Walter N. Tubrana to appoint us to the review panel to examine the incident in Anacostia on 8/15/66. We also urge the appointment of a youth to the leadership of this panel. Now, elaborating on this, I feel that we are this group that I'm chairman of is the only one here who represents the whole city.
I'm from the Northwest, NDC number 3.
From all over the city they came, representatives of neighborhood youth development centers, United Planning Organization groups which operate under the joint financing of the U.S. Department of Health, Education and Welfare and the Labor Department. With youth presiding and youth participating, the post-Anacostia meeting was a clear demonstration, both of what youth wanted and of what youth could do. At the United Planning Organization, youth has found an important role. UPO's director James Banks and the agency's neighborhood youth workers struggle together to clarify the issues.
Now, what I'm trying to ask you, though, is you see, you keep telling me, you keep answering me as though the problem rests primarily with the young people. It's they haven't gone back to school, they haven't done this, they haven't done that. Is this what this issue is all about?
No.
What is it?
The issue is all about the people that have been in the structure for a long time have not listened to the young people. And the old system is no good for the younger generation.
Well, suppose you go to the authority and say, I'd like to present some facts about a problem that we have and to recommend some solutions. And suppose the official says, well, I don't have time. What would you do then?
I think we would do the same thing we did when we first got our program started.
What's that?
Come in your office and demand that you see us, because our mothers and fathers are taxpayers and we are part of this society, although we haven't been heard or been accepted as part of it.
Why do you emphasize taxpayers? I mean, do you have to be a taxpayer to get all the rights of the citizen?
Well, this is what is set up. This is the way the structure is set. You have to be a taxpayer to be heard.
Say that?
The Constitution might don't say it, but the people that sits up in that office, they say it.
What are you trying to do?
Probing give and take sessions like these help to establish better understanding and mutual respect. But often, they also serve as the sounding board for a variety of still unsolved problems facing youth. Among the most urgent are questions about youth employment and the limited opportunities for achievement in a society that demands skill and training.
I suppose it might be because of the low salaries.
I mean, you can get a job, but it doesn't pay enough.
Correct. And
so you're saying that kids don't take jobs if they're available because the salaries aren't high enough?
in most cases, I believe so, because I doubt if I would take a job paying $1 a quarter myself.
These boys work for $1.25 an hour, 4 days a week, or 32 hours. They work alongside National Capital Region employees at $2.46 an hour.
Norman Allison is field coordinator for the Neighborhood Youth Corps of the National Park Service. It is one of 96 Washington area agencies which participate in the Neighborhood Youth Corps programs. Last summer, this Labor Department-financed program provided nearly 4,000 jobs. Youth were employed as aides in recreation, settlement houses, D.C. government offices, and in a variety of other jobs. For some, NYC job placements have proved to be an open door, the inspiration for a return to school, but for others, a dead end.
Unfortunately, however menial the job might seem, it is important in the beautification program of the area.
Youth are asking, will these jobs lead to more than $1.25 an hour? Is it promise or pitfall? Only the community can provide the answer.
Or the proper equipment. Why do you put so much emphasis on meetings? You know, people have been meeting around the city for years, 50 years.
Yeah, I know. Our meetings I get tired of, frankly. But this is the only way, you know, maybe we should, you know, think of a new name for a meeting. But this is the only way that you can get together besides, if I just go out and talk to somebody on the street corner, suppose there's just 10 boys on that street corner. This is still meeting. I'm meeting someone and we're discussing.
Can I get this? No, this money. Come on, man. Come on, man. What is you, man? Come on, man. Come on, man. You don't get any other. Oh, hey, Bill, got me a sweet thing. Got me one sweet thing.
Tangra Ferris takes her job seriously. As a neighborhood youth worker for UPO, that job includes organizing new UPO youth centers. Tonight, she and fellow youth worker Luther Brody are on a new organizing assignment.
I bet the job win. Bet down. Bet down. Oh, but Guru can beat him in. Don't kill it. Don't kill it. Where you come from? Because you're dying. Man, beat him, man. Hey, look here, man. You know, we got a center, man, that you don't even have to pay for. You know? Where? Oh, man, I think my... Has it got good tables in it? Yeah, it got good tables, man. Where's this center, man? This is the center. Youth development program. You don't want no, you know. You know what you talking about. Keep going. And, wait, man, got something else. It's a function for all the youth in the area. It's a function to better afford educational things, recreation, and anything you might want to do. Yeah, well, I know what you mean. You can go and shoot that ball too, man. Okay. You know, see what you can do here. You can see what you can do about this education net. But, how much you got? I'm educating this money. I bet you do. How much we got to pay to join this club? Well, they giving out jobs? Yeah, man. Anything you want to do. $1 a quarter. Yeah, well, that's a job. Yeah, but there ain't no money. Oh, there ain't no money. No, I'm free. No money whatsoever. You come and tell me. I mean, now if you got tables like that, you can't make them like this. You have. Yeah, well, see, you from Mississippi. Oh, where we shoot pool, the ball go where they want to go. They got 6 pockets.
It takes a unique combination of skills and abilities to be a UPO neighborhood youth worker. It takes an ability to handle the open hostility and suspicion, an unswerving dedication to the job you're trying to accomplish, in the face of an accumulation of years of frustration and cynicism. And if the setting is a pool hall, it doesn't hurt to know how to shoot pool.
You can start one of your own. You can start one of your own. Where? It can be anywhere in your neighborhood.
Some of our own.
Anything you want, what you own, anything you want, anything recreational, cultural, you can have your own employment agency.
And this takes money.
We're not trying to tell you, listen, you know, you come here and you're going to get this and we're going to guarantee that and we're going to guarantee jobs. We want you to come here and help us help all the people, you know, all of the youth around in this area and the other areas of D.C. Because we just don't want to fight for one center. It's not fair to have one center.
In one center.
Okay, you
my
have.
center.
All right, fine. We fight for your center. Meanwhile, we get enough centers. If there's a group of us working together, we can get enough centers for everybody. We can get a job for you and get a job for your next door neighbor too. And we can. And see, you have to get the job.
Okay, now wait.
We can.
That's my problem. I can't get no job.
Okay, we can refer you to somebody.
Yeah, well, I've been referred to people so many times. I'm getting tired of it.
Okay, well, look. All right, so they don't make a job for you. You don't get a job, right?
Okay, you have to develop it.
You don't get a job,
So you
right?
gonna stop there?
You cannot. You get out of school. You cannot get a job. All right. No, hustle anything. Hustle is not the thing. You can make your jobs. Incorporate your own things. Through the center, you can do this. Small businesses. You can open up a little business.
What kind of
You can get a loan from the from the federal.
My background get a loan? Oh, sure. Man,
I mean, the federal.
Come on, be realistic now.
I am being realistic.
If the plan is good enough and if there's enough of you together,
That's right.
You by
Organization.
yourself can't do it.
I mean, yeah, as a group, man, you can make it. I mean, all right, if I go out and say, well, I want a loan because I want to start a business, you know? If I haven't got my set plans down, and if I haven't got everything that I'm going to do together, nobody's going to give me a loan. If I have my things incorporated, my plans set, and my budget within reason, people will consider this, especially the credit unions, because they're established by people in this organization, this poverty organization, to help the poor people, the people who would normally not get loans.
And where do we start from?
You start by organizing. You start by coming to meetings.
Well, how many do we need?
What meeting could we come to then?
How many people we need to get this money?
As many as you can get. As many as you can get in a function. As many as you can get working together.
Well, after we get this money, we do what we want to do with it.
After you get this money, you do what you specify with it.
Oh, yo, I did that too.
You talking about meetings? What meeting are you?
Yeah. Well, we plan to have a meeting next Wednesday for all the youth in the Washington area. It's actually a rally. As to let them know about the neighborhood development program.
Where?
This will be at NDC 1, 1507 9th Street Northwest.
Where is it going to be?
Next Wednesday at 6:30.
6:30. 6:30. Well, I supposed to have a woman out that time.
Yeah, well, see, then you don't want to get no business. You don't want no job.
Like the young lady said, she's going to refer me to this person. Refer them to
Well,
me.
we're not referring you.
Oh, you're
We're
not.
telling you to come to a meeting.
To see who you think would be
Come to a meeting. Yes.
Come to a meeting. Come in. What you got to offer me? Now I want to know this now. Before I go running up to some old meeting.
We walk up to the meeting, waste our time, and nothing happens. So order that. You know?
I haven't anything to offer you. This is what you have to offer yourself.
Well, shoot food.
Wait a minute.
Come on.
You got a point. You got a point. You got a point. I think you got a point.
You mean to tell me if enough of us get together and we go to these different organizations with this money, that we can get a center of our own with better pool tables and more pool tables in a larger place?
I'll give you a for instance. Take the rebels with a cause. Yeah, those guys. Yes. All right, those rebels with a cause.
They spoofing the public.
That's right. They have a cause, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just take the name Rebels with a Cause. You know, a cause. You can be your group with a cause. Your cause is you want to incorporate something. You want to get something going that'll benefit yourself. You see what I'm saying? You get a cause and you get enough people together and you start talking, you start organizing, somebody's going to have to listen to you. See what I mean?
Some do. In 7 Washington neighborhoods, youth are creating their own centers. Some of them in converted buildings like this one. Jointly financed by two federal agencies, the Department of Health, Education and Welfare and the Department of Labor, these UPO-operated neighborhood youth development centers provide a multiplicity of services for its youth community: job training and placement, educational services, recreational programs. But the real meaning of neighborhood youth development centers is far deeper. Young people are being provided with the opportunity of operating and developing their own programs, of defining and achieving their own goals. All this towards their development as fully participating members of the adult society. This is the essence of youth involvement. Youth involvement is a climate which encourages open meetings like this one at a huge housing development in the Kenilworth area, where teenagers and housing development officials can exchange views and discuss problems of mutual concern.
But yet, when it's time to do something about it, you're bashful. Now, this is the opportunity for you to bring all of our problems out into the open.
I mean, I suppose where they put them, like, you know, like disadvantaged youth, working with disadvantaged youth, that don't sound too good. Why they can't say youth working with youth? Where does disadvantage come from? Anyway.
The concept of youth involvement includes job training programs like this one at Howard University's Institute for Youth Studies. These young Washingtonians are being trained for work as mental health aides, but their effectiveness can only be achieved after they have gained a better insight into their own values and way of life, and the values and way of life of those they will serve. Probing, intensive training sessions help to open new paths of understanding. The project is financed by the U.S. Department of Health, Education and Welfare.
So I guess come in, you know, and notice something. You say, if you don't say, man, I don't think I'm a little smart, you know. You know, that when you say, you know, that man was twitching his hand, you know, I think he got some kind of problem. Only reason I know this is because I saw it in the film. The film said that the person who ever twitches, who, you know, has a tick or some kind, usually has some kind of problem, you know. So, I mean, it's nothing, if you show a 2-year kid a book, and the book says if you look for a man who got a limp, then his leg has been hurt. See what I mean? If you look for a man who got a twitch, according to this, that film you saw, he has an emotional problem somewhere that may be serious or may not be serious. See, I mean, so what is that we being achieved? The kids who were working with are kids in this neighborhood. And the kids in this neighborhood, in my eyes, they had no mental problem. Because, I mean, they got everything they're doing for survival.
This project is a research project, and we don't, you know, have the last answer here. And I think one of the ideas about this whole thing was by involving all of you in this, maybe the professional could learn something about the problem, because apparently he isn't doing such a good job in solving the problem himself. Now, you know, maybe you're also saying that why even say that, you know, this life of yours is any more of a problem than anybody else's life. In other words, until we learn something about...
We end where we began, for in reality, this is an unfinished story. But we have already learned enough to know that we can expect from youth only as much as we are willing to invest. Assistant Secretary Lyle C. Carter, Jr., U.S. Department of Health, Education and Welfare.
It's becoming increasingly clear that if we expect to have programs which are really going to benefit young people, and which they themselves feel are going to benefit them, they have to have a role in their formulation. They have to have something to say about the content, and more than that, they have to actually be involved in the participation, in the leadership of the program. In a sense, if we have to look at it from the adult point of view, and say that we are helping young people prepare for the future roles of decision-making and leadership which we expect them to fulfill. But from the point of view of the youth, it's a question of his being recognized as a human being with views and thoughts. It's a question of his having a self-recognition of his own role in society, and therefore having a better relation to that society. Now, the Department of Health, Education and Welfare, through the Office of Juvenile Delinquency and Youth Development and Welfare Administration, been giving substantial support here in the District of Columbia to this kind of youth involvement program. True, these are fundamentally experiments at this time, but from more limited projects that have been carried on in the past, we really have great hope for the results that are going to come out of this in showing that when youth are given an opportunity to participate in a real way in decisions about their own fate and in the development of these programs, that they respond, and that they respond in very positive and constructive ways, and more importantly, they can get other young people involved and get them to respond as well. I think I should make clear, however, that we don't pretend for a moment that this process of youth involvement is a solution in itself to the problems of a community such as the district or any other community. The problems that youth face in many ways are the problems that adults face, and they are deep in the fabric, institutional fabric of the community. They turn on housing and they turn on employment and education. And as the youngsters have to be involved in deciding the kinds of things that they want to participate in, so the community at large has to have a greater interaction with them around these problems, and there have to be changes in the community institutions and the programming that goes on to deal with the problems not only of the youth, but of the adults who are poor.
These young people have had a chance since this incident has started, and they really have shown a lot. And I hope the adults will, if they, sometime mess up, go along with them, because none of us is perfect.